Salutations and welcome to the exclusive video commentary of my Patreon. If you're watching this, then you've pledged to my Patreon, and I want to say thank you. And I also assume at this point you've seen the new mini comic that I posted exclusively for you guys, and that was Alien Abduction 101. I do recommend, if you have not checked that out, I do recommend you check it because I will be spoiling details about the comic, so I hope you just take a look at the link of the Dropbox from my previous posts and get through looking at the issue. And it's basically only 6 pages, so it won't be too much of a long read, and then come back here. First, I wanted to go into a little bit detail of the origin of this. This goes back to the fact that back in the 90s I was a big UFO fan. I was kind of a fan of shows like Sightings and of course, Unsolved Mysteries, and they talked about UFOs and aliens and stuff. I think the one aspect that I was kind of a little bit creeped out was the alien abduction stories. That's when aliens come down and abduct people and do experiments on them. I think that kind of thing resonates with a lot of people. I think that fear is with a lot of people. I think it's not so much the fact that it's aliens, but just the simple fact that something outside comes into your home and invades your home and can just terrorize you. I think that kind of fear has been a part of our lives for a long time. It's either could be ghosts, demons, witches, whatever. But I think that's something that taps and resonates with a lot of people. So I think it's very basically it's not unusual that we would have that basic fear, right? So after watching some of these documentaries as a kid, I remember this one ufologist kind of asked what was his take on alien abductions, and he just said it could be something as mundane as, let's say, aliens just abducting people just for the sake of experimenting on them just to get a grade, like the same way we dissect frogs and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty kind of a mundane thing. But I thought it from their vantage point, it probably would be mundane. I mean, to us it's scary and kind of like life-changing experience, but to them it could just be just mundane. So that notion always was part of my thoughts on it, and I decided many years later I was going to hopefully do a story based off of that. So I wrote this. I was really happy, and I think originally I wrote this back in 2013, and I originally wanted Sterling to draw it. And if you don't know who Sterling is, again, Sterling's my best friend, and he's my collaborator on my comic strip Living with Robots. He's also done a few other mini comics for me, and of course he's also doing issue 1 of Spectre X, which I'm pretty happy. I showed him this idea, I pitched this idea to him, and he just wasn't into it. I guess it wasn't so much he might have been not interested. I don't think maybe he wasn't a big fan or UFO enthusiast as I was, and I guess he was just so busy with other commitments that he just didn't want to do it. So that was fine. I had written the script, and I had started fishing around to see anyone from BOW who was interested in working on it for their annual BOW Down release event, their anthology, and this was again 2013. I had finished the script, and I met an artist by the name of Aiden Cepeda, and Cepeda was a very talented artist. I've seen his work, and he wanted to work on something for BOW, because obviously a lot of these artists, they're scrambling to come up with ideas, and it's sort of on the fly for them. So I'd given him a copy of my script, and he liked it, and he wanted to start doing it, and what we had was this. Now, I love the choice in the mood that he picked, because obviously it's kind of dark and moody. The guy just came home from a party, basically, and after a long day's work, and all of a sudden the aliens show up. And I just love how he captured this sort of storyboard-like thing. It just happens all at once. You get what's happening and going on. And this was pretty cool, because I had specifically said this was a high-rise building. I think part of it was because a lot of documentaries talked about how a lot of people in New York and high-rise buildings were the ones getting abducted more than, let's say, someone from an or more rural area, or some out on the highway or something. So I kind of I enjoyed the design work he did. Obviously the next page we go into this, and this is my own sort of Easter egg reference to M. Night Shyamalan's Signs, which I'm a fan of that film. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like it, but I personally thought it was an alright film. And of course we have a tall alien who is the teacher, and the smaller aliens are the students. I think this again ties into the ufology when a lot of people say that they see two types of aliens, either tall aliens or small aliens. And originally, I had suggested that they look like the traditional gray aliens that people associate um, encounters with. But I liked Zepeda's choice in sort of changing that. I think he didn't just want to make them look just the generic looking. He wanted to add a bit of distinct character to each of them, and I thought that was fine. And of course, you see that they're cutting his hair, taking samples, and again, this is all part of their experiments and part of their class requirement. Uh, and I'm going to turn the page again. And we get to a point where, oh, excuse me. In the previous page, I think one of the small aliens accidentally pricked the human too hard with his needle, and this is actually a reference to the first recorded alien abduction, which was Betty and Barney Hill from the 1960s. They were a couple that were abducted, and Betty had said through a hypnosis session that one of them had stuck her in the belly button with a needle, and it hurt so much, and because that would be very painful. And we have the instructor kind of walk over and do this, and in the hypnosis session she said that one of them just came in, put her hand in her head, and the pain went away. So I wrote that in the script as what happened here, but what I loved what Zepeda did, if you looked at closely, you kind of see this little kind of telepathy thing here happening. I kind of love that. I kind of like this because it kind of was something I didn't think of, but he added to basically to my script to kind of show that these aliens have abilities far greater than us, and it was just kind of a unique kind of addition to the script. And because they talk about a few other things. They talk about how basically no one really will believe this guy. He'll probably go through therapy and say dismiss it as a over drinking or something like that. The typical stuff that we don't really believe these kind of people for doing. And at the end, it turns out, the guy went to a party and he said, that's the last time I go drinking. So you kind of will dismiss it as a overnight drinking and such. But anyway, that's basically the gist of the story. When Zepeda originally started drawing it, it was meant to be released as part of the Bow Down anthology of 2014. However, he never was able to finish it on time. We kind of missed the deadline for it, and I was able to. Actually, I was trying to contact him, and it was hard getting in contact with him because he hardly replied. And after a few months, he did reply. It said, he'd gone through a few life changes. He had started raising a family, and that was fine. I'm totally cool with that. I mean, he has a family to support. I understand. And I was just asking you, will you continue working on this? And he said, yeah, I'll continue working on it. He wasn't sure when he'll finish it, but he does intend to finish it, which was fine. I was hoping you would finish it for the following year's release, and unfortunately, it didn't get done either. So this was like, 2000. This was like 2015, and by the end of 2015, Zepeda told me he was going to finish it and send it to me by early 2016. And at this point, I was like, kind of 50-50 chance he would do it. I wasn't like really commit. I really wanted to believe that he was going to do it, but I didn't want to get my hopes up. So when he finally did finish, I was just amazed, and it just looked great. And I always knew it was going to look great because he showed me sketches of what was each of those things were going to look like, and I was really glad how it turned out. At the same time, it was the same time that my Bad Kid comic got finished, so it all fit together. I'm really hoping that it'll get the triple whammy when Spectre X gets finished later on this year. So yeah, 2016 is really cool. I'm really amazed by a lot of my work finally getting finished, or hopefully I'm able to share it with you guys. I mean, to enjoy it. I do hope that's everything you want. Again, thank you again for this video commentary. If you want a physical copy of Alien Abduction 101, be sure to buy yourself a copy of Volume 15 of Bow Down. You can also get access to a lot of other great artwork from a lot of other talented artists from the Bay Area, as well as including some LWR strips that Sterling had drawn that I wrote as well. So you'll get to see some other bits of my work other than that. Thank you again for your patronage, and keep believing.